this project, I decided to focus on editing. I'm familiar with editing, and it's an area of film I would be keen to do in the future. As well as this, I've learnt some new stuff which I was excited to use in my own films. In this film, I experimented with visual effects and colour grading mostly. Multiple things inspired this film. I'd recently seen the film Beats, a new feature film by Brian Welsh, based around the rave culture in Scotland. After watching this, it got me interested in squat raves, so I began to do some research. I watched documentaries on platforms such as Vice about squat rave culture. Last of all, coincidentally, I was looking over an old script of mine, and there was a scene based in a squat rave. So I thought my idea was already there, which really took the stress off. Although we'd done lessons on After Effects, I thought I'd top up my knowledge about looking at channels on YouTube such as FilmRiot. As well as this, I looked at film practitioners that specialised in editing. The one I looked at was Lev Kuleshov. Lev Kuleshov was known for his film editing montage effect, in which he was able to create a variety of emotions throughout intercutting a clip of a man with a bowler suit, a woman lying down in a seductive pose, and a dead little girl. I used this effect a bit in my film, not in the same way that Kuleshov used it, but more to help us establish our main character taking in his surroundings. Furthermore, I also looked at films such as Schindler's List and Raging Bull. This was because I was super impressed by the bold choice of both directors by keeping the films shot in black and white. For Spielberg, he chose to shoot it in black and white because he wanted people to realise the pain of the Jews cannot be depicted in colour. Whereas Scorsese, on the other hand, used black and white to distinguish his film from other coloured films. Moving on to my film. So my biggest experiment throughout this was most probably the colour grading. I wanted to start the film in black and white and go into colour. The reason for this is that I wanted to tell an emotional story throughout. By beginning in black and white, I wanted to suggest this kind of sense of loss or sadness that this main character of ours had. And throughout the film, it slowly goes into colour to show him increase his happiness. As we go around this 360 pan of all these boys taking drugs, I chose to overlap the second lap of the 360 pan. This was because I wanted to suggest that while he was taking the drugs, as he was becoming to come up, this little bit of happiness was kicking in. When we cut to his opening his eyes, we fade into colour. This suggests that the drug has fully kicked in. I chose to overlap my footage to give off this idea of disorientation. I played it at a slower pace so that it created a kind of drug-induced effect. Last of all, another big experiment for me, because I've never really done it and I've never used After Effects within my films, I diluted the pupil of one of my actors to create the effect of him pinging in response to taking MDMA. Unfortunately, I was not able to do it with both eyes. Leading on from this, if I was to do it again, I would really like to reshoot the lighting, and I would tell the actor to just open his eyes as wide as he can, so that tracking of the pupil would be so much easier, and that hopefully I would then be able to do it with both eyes. As well as this, if I was to do it again, I would like to make the colour change a bit more gradual and a bit more subtle. I would adjust each frame to make a little bit more of a subtle transition into colour from black and white. I would have liked to experiment with the Kuleshov effect a bit more as well, taking more shots to help establish the setting. For example, maybe people doing lines of cocaine, maybe speakers or other people dancing. Overall, I'm fairly happy with this project. I feel I have progressed. Big example, I've never used After Effects, and I'm super happy that I was able to, well, in a way, pull this off.